Hey guys, it's Ted from 12lb 8oz Switching Life here again with a special video. Me catching my new PB at 12.8 pound bass, 12 pound 8 ounces. I got the cast to catch, 2 cameras, my head cam and my boat cam. I have me weighing and measuring and releasing it also on tape. So we're gonna cut to that. We're gonna give a little montage leading up to it of my day on that lake. If you know which lake it is, I mean, that's fine. I don't mind it being out there, but if you don't mind keeping it quiet, that's cool too. Trying to keep the pressure off of individual fish and spots. And since I was in such a specific spot, as you'll see, this might be better. But also, bass move. This is a notoriously difficult lake, so either way, it's okay with me. But so here it is, me catching my 12.8 pound bass, my new PB, crushing my 10 pound 12 ounce bass from a year and a half ago. Check it out. That's big, whatever it is. It does the bass. That's a bass. I think that is a bass. Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy crap. Oh my God. Oh. Come here. Come here, dude. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is the biggest bass I've ever caught. This is the biggest bass I've ever caught. Holy shit. Hey guys, this is Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life. I just caught the biggest fish. It's my PB. I just got a new scale, so I'm having trouble getting the weight, but it's somewhere between 11 and 12 pounds. I just caught it. I just stopped shaking. She's in the live well. I'm about to get all the measurements and weigh her again. I got it on film, back camera and head cam, and I figured I'd do this like on the spot wrap up. Yeah, I'm still shaking. Just picked up a 7-inch stik-o for the first time today. It was literally my third cast in this little hidden creek. Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna pull her out of the live well, try to get a weight on her. Like I said, I just got the scale. It doesn't seem to want to zero out easily. Okay, it says 0. Let's see what she weighs. And I'm gonna measure her after this and let her go right back where I got her. Yeah, she's huge. I mean, look at that thing. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's see. Pounds and ounces, right? Not kilograms. $12.8. Here's fluctuating. So $12.8. Let me turn this off and get some pictures. All right, well, I weighed her again, 12.8, just over 25 inches and 19 inches around. Got my hand on her in the live well. I'm about to let her go, basically about 20 feet from where I caught her. I caught her in front of the boat. I'm gonna let her go on the back of the boat so I can share it with you guys. You ready to see this one more time? The biggest bass I've ever caught, 12 pounds, 8 ounces, I think is the official weight. I weighed it like 3 times. Two were over 12, one was over 11. I'm gonna go with the lower 12 in the middle. Like I said, it's a brand new scale, never used it before. Seems kinda, well, it's just different than my old scale, which broke. It's one of those lifelong moments or life-defining fish we all hunt for. And who would have thought, just a 7-inch stik-o. I got swim baits tied on, punching gear, jigs, topwater frogs, and something told me that I needed to drop something into that hole. And I was right. Here you go, my PB. Oh, look at that thing. 12.8. That is a black bass too. Mama. All right, let's let her go right where I caught her. You can barely see her in this water. It's right before cold front moves in. There's actually a tournament out here tomorrow. If somebody catches her, man, they're gonna win that tournament. All right, big girl, let me get you by the tail. Need some oxygen on those gills. She's ready to go. There she goes. 12 pounds. Ah. Yeah, so as you can see, it was a crazy day. I just snuck out in the afternoon, had a little extra time. No means planning on catching a new PB. I mean, when you're out in the pre-spawn, the real pre-spawn, or sight fishing, or you go to a famous lake that has big fish, you know, you kind of prep for it. This was out of the blue on a lake I fish all the time. I mean, there's good fish on there, but somebody told me that this might be one of the biggest fish caught there in the last 10 years or so. I'm gonna check the local tackle shop on Monday about all that. It's definitely the biggest bass I've heard of coming out of there. So yeah, let's break down what happened. I'd actually gone out on the lake to record my wrap-up for the bite of the day, which I didn't end up recording because I ended up catching my PB. So you might see me in the same outfit recording that, or coming out after this in the same studios, or we're in my art studio slash fishing cave, part of my art studio. So yeah, let's break down this catch. First of all, this is the rig that I caught her on. It is a Florida rigged 7-inch stik-o in sungill, I believe is the color. Which is funny because apparently I had a bag of these laying around. This is Mikey's new favorite color. Actually I have a bite of the day where he catches a nice 5-pounder out of the back of my boat on the 6-inch version. And so this is the Florida rigged Senko. I have a whole video on how I do my Florida rig weightless Senko, 7-inch. So yeah, my video I talk about using a 6-inch stik-o, and that's the Bass Pro Shop brand of Senko or stick bait. But I lately have been throwing the 7-inch one, and like I said, I just found a bag of this color in my tackle drawer. Here it is, from Bass Pro Shop, the Sungill 7-inch. And Mikey seems to love it. And I actually took it out on Orange Lake the other day with my buddy Justice. And I was throwing it in the hydrilla because the little heavier, bigger stick bait falls through the holes better. And so I had it in my boat, and I got to this spot, which is that little offshoot creek off the main lake, which is actually really deep. And I had lost a 6-pounder in that same spot maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago, on a chatterbait. But there were logs in the way now to get back there, so I actually, you can see in the video, I kind of have to hop the log, like pull my back motor up and charge toward the trolling motor, pull the trolling motor up and slide over it. That's when having this lightweight aluminum boat comes in real handy. My 86 Sea Nymph, which I've had since 86. My dad bought it then. But so yeah, I didn't even have this tied on till I got back there. And you see I stop and I tie it on, and that was maybe the 3rd cast I made with it. And I was just trying to get something that I could work this little bit of open water that was back in this creek a little longer than even a frog. But it's also got a lot of mud on the bottom, so I didn't want something that was gonna sit on the bottom. And I was like, it's time for a weightless Senko or stick bait. So I grabbed this and I actually put it on this rod and reel, which isn't my normal weightless Senko setup. When I usually fish the weightless Senko, I pretty much use like my jig rod, like a light flipping rod, a more parabolic flipping rod. It's a 7.6 Corrado. They call it the fluorocarbon flipping rod with a Shimano stik-o 200 with a 50-pound braid. This is my SLX medium heavy 8-to-1. This is my normal Texas rig slash swim jig general purpose rod, my faster general purpose rod. It's medium heavy, 7.2 I believe. I've worn off all the measurements, so. And I'm running 30-pound braid, and I had a swim jig on here. So there's actually a mono leader on here, which normally with a Texas rig, Cinco, or a Florida rig Cinco, I wouldn't run a leader, but I didn't feel like cutting it off, and the mono goes through the little Gambler weightless bullet weight, which I have here. I'll show you that. So yeah, I had a 17-pound Trilane XL to 30-pound Berkley X9 braid, and I actually caught, this is like my backup Cinco, weightless Cinco rod. I caught an 8.11 this summer on another lake, which is actually kind of connected to this lake, on the same setup without the leader. But so yeah, the setup was this stick bait, Bass Pro Shops stik-o. Definitely can get more of these. And I used a 7-inch, like I said, in heavy cover, so it can sink, but it's still weightless. So even though it's heavy enough to fall through, it still wiggles on the way down slowly. And so I had that rigged on this hook, and I'll put a picture of it in the bag from my actually Florida rig video, which will also be linked at the bottom on how to rig the Florida rig. And this is the Gambler hollow point. It's a clear plastic bullet screw in. It's not a weight, but it's like a weight. And the combination of these is how I run a Cinco, because this hook doesn't have much of a shoulder, just enough offset, and it has a big enough offset also that it has a good hookup ratio. And it's their big tube hook. So I mean, this is meant for flipping and whatnot with large tube baits. So it's a sturdy hook, so like when I run the 50-pound braid, I can really set the hook and not worry about it bending out. And I fish this stuff in heavy cover. Like, this is almost like punching, just one step below in terms of how dense it is. But yeah, so this hook is the key, because the offset bend doesn't kick back, so I don't get grass on it. So yeah, that's the tackle and the setup. And like I said, I tied it on just because I got in this spot, and I was like, well, nothing I had tied on was really working. I had thrown the frog a couple times, not even a look. The topwater frog bite's been kind of dead the last week or so, because that's what normally I would throw there. And like I said, I had lost a 6-pounder there a couple weeks earlier, kind of more in the entrance, and I was like, oh, so they do live kind of on the edge deeper in here. So that's when I also noticed that it was 6 to 7 feet deep back in the back, because it's not that deep at the mouth of this little creek. So I tied on the Cinco and threw it back there, and you can see, if you look closely, I'll do a little cut to it while I'm talking here, you can see the wake come out from under that mat. I landed on the mat and then had to drag it out. And so that's what I do with the Florida rig, is I just pull it to the openings of cover, and like a normal, weightless Cinco, you just let it sink. It's just this bullet and this hook stop me from getting any extra little grass on here, which would ruin your presentation. So I was able to pull this off of that mat of hyacinth and dead grass. The FWC had just been back there spraying, so the stuff is dying, it's not totally dead. And I just let it sink, and then I pulled it again, and then you can see this wall of water move. And I didn't feel a bite at all, which I've noticed on a lot of the bigger bass I catch. You don't feel the bite. I just saw my line starting to move sideways. And if anybody's warm fish before, you see your line moving sideways, you set the hook. And as soon as I set the hook, I knew I had something big. I wasn't sure if it was a bass though. Yesterday, all I had caught previous to this bass were 2 small pickerel and a giant mudfish. So I'm always worried when I'm in these swampy spots that should hold bass, but end up just holding big mudfish. And if you live in the South, you know about mudfish or bowfin. They're like our native snakeheads. They are mean fish. And so I set the hook, and I was like, I hope to God this is not a mudfish. But the really big mudfish tend to roll as soon as you hook them. They start doing a rolling movement to get the hook out of their mouth. And this thing just pulled. And I saw her tail. I was like, that's a bass. And I couldn't get past where I was. There was stuff in the way of the trolling motor. If you'd just seen my loss on a glide bait from a couple weeks ago, I lost about a 6 or 7 pounder because I didn't grab the net. And I didn't even have the net on my boat. So now I do. I have a big net on my boat right here. I keep this on the boat at all times now because you need a net for big fish. But I did an on-the-spot call, at the moment call, that there was no way to get the net in the water right in front of me. It's like about a foot of open water between those weeds, and I was like, I just got to pull. When you get a big fish like that, they're either going to take you for a ride or you got to control them right away. And just like my previous PB, my 10-pounder, my 10-12, I set the hook on her and got her on top of the weeds pretty much within 3 seconds of hooking her, and she just gave up, and I got her. This one was a little bit more. I got the hook set, but I didn't let her turn her head, and I just cranked it in. And as soon as she got near to me, I put the rod down and just grabbed the line. A lot of people tell you not to grab the line, and you know, that's advisable. A lot of people don't know what to do. But I've grown up lipping bass, like just the way I've done it. I've never been so much into boat flipping, like I said, or as you might have seen in my other video, I'm not always good at grabbing the net. But I've always been pretty good at lipping bass, and when I fish on the roundabout, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know, 9, 10 pounders, I lip them. So the key is to keep pressure on the line when you grab it, but not pull it out of their mouth. You basically, the way you lose fish is when they can either turn their head or start shaking. That's why, like, when you use a crankbait, you use a moderate rod so that the pressure on the hook is constant. There's no give. And that's why when you hook a big fish like this, if you can crank it in, you should. And luckily I was using this hook, which I know if I get a good hook set, this isn't coming out. And I saw her mouth open and I saw where it was hooked, and it was right in the top, past the lip, in the back of her mouth. So I knew as long as I kept pressure, this hook wasn't coming out. And the reason I talk about all this is I've lost 2 fish of this size or greater in the last year and a half. And I actually have 2 videos on that too. Chapter 1 and 2 of the ones that got away. And one was on a frog, and she wrapped around a lily pad and was able to pull off. That was incredible. She shamued the frog, the pad crasher. It was nuts. And the other was flipping a kinky beaver, and she got off underwater. We didn't have a net. She was probably bigger than this fish. That was the biggest fish I've ever seen. This fish was big, but not as big as that one. This is the biggest fish I've ever caught, definitely. She ended up being about 25 inches, 25 and a half inches. You can see it in the video. This summer I caught one that was 26 and a half inches, but summer skinny. It was only 9, 14, almost 10. I hope to catch her again one day, but that was on a jerkbait in open water. Totally different scenario. Had to fight that in a totally different way. There was no fighting her and turning her head and bringing her back to the boat. I just had to hope my hooks were in her good, and they were. That's a whole other video you can watch as well on my channel. But so back to this fish. I saw her. I saw that I had the hook in her mouth. Good. So I just put the rod down, grabbed the line. When I grabbed the line, pulled her towards me and got my hand on her. And then you saw what happened. I was freaking out. I mean, we work our whole lives as bass fishermen to catch a 10-pounder. I mean, that's the goal, right? Everybody wants to catch a 10-pounder. And I remember somebody commenting on the picture of me when I caught my previous PB that I looked so happy. And I was like, that 10-pounder was the fulfillment of the longest unobtained goal of my life. Like, I've wanted to catch a 10-pound bass since I knew they got to 10 pounds. Well, as bass fishermen, we all know they get bigger than 10 pounds. So having 2 close calls since that one that were definitely bigger than my 10-pounder, I've just been grinding it out, you know, trying to catch something big. You know, I even started throwing those big glide baits. That's more of a fun project than anything else, but you know, the potential's there. Flipping, frogging. I know I'm in the right spot, but this day, like I said, I didn't expect it. And you know, I fish a private lake a lot that has people have caught 13 and 14 pounders out of. I have yet to top 10 out of that one. But you know, I still have to catch it, but it is a private lake, so the amount of pressure it has is limited, and the fish, you know, aren't as educated. This lake that I caught this fish on is probably the most public lake in our area. I mean, there's a lot of people on that lake. And like I said, there's a tournament out there right today. It's probably over. If anyone caught my fish, which my friend had me name, I'm not much on naming fish, but I posted the picture of me catching this fish on social media, and a friend of mine asked me what I was gonna name her. And like I said, I don't usually name my fish, but my friend Allie was insistent that I should, so I let her pick. So we now refer to her as Big Mama, which seems appropriate. So if anybody caught Big Mama today in the tournament, I'm sure it'll make the fishing report as well. But I let her go in exactly the same spot I caught her. Well, maybe about 30 feet away. It's one of the most important things about catching these big fish. Yeah, they're big. Yeah, they're monster fish, but they're a very rare resource. A fish to get over 10 pounds is like 1 in a million, literally. And there's not a lot of them out there, especially on these public lakes. And so I caught her, took a picture, put her in a live well, fresh water just from the same spot, and it was a cool day, so I didn't have to worry about that. Took my time, set everything up. I even wet my measuring board, or roll up my bucket mouth measuring board, and got everything ready before I had to record all the information for the Florida Trophy program, which if you don't know about, look it up, the FWC Trophy Bass program. It's awesome. So I got her length, her girth, and her weight. And about the weight, I weighed her 3 times, and I got 3 different weights. It's a brand new scale. I even mentioned in the video, it's a brand new scale. And so I'm gonna just go with the middle of the 3, which was 12 pounds, 8 ounces. Just seems like, I mean, they were all pretty close. It was like 12.4 something, and then there's a 12.11, so 12.8, and it seems fair. But yeah, so back to fish care. So took the pictures in between anything I did. If I could, I put her back in the water so she could breathe. And like I said, I let her go probably within 20 minutes of catching her in the exact same spot I caught her, because she was there for a reason. We're in December now, and believe it or not, she was probably in the pre-spawn. In Florida here, the spawn can start anytime in October and go off and on all the way to April. And she was definitely getting ready. She was full of eggs. And that's part of what I was trying to break down a little bit. I have been, in terms of a pattern, is I had seen beds on this lake the week before, or 2 weeks before, with no fish on it. It had already cooled down a little since they had built the beds. So I figured they weren't going far, so I was trying to hit up any deep water near a spawning area. And this creek goes back into like a swampy area that you can't even access. And I'm sure that's where there are probably hundreds of fish her size spawning back there, because we'll never know. You just can't get back there. So yeah, that was how I found her, and that's why I let her go right there, so that she didn't miss a beat. She goes right back to where she was. Obviously there was enough food for her there. She seemed happy and healthy, and hopefully, you know, I can catch her again next year and she'll be even bigger. Yeah, what can I say? I'm still kind of in shock of catching such a big fish. It's not the biggest fish in the world, but I mean, a 12-pound bass is a serious bass. I know pro fishermen who, you know, like I said, who've never caught one that big, and hopefully it's just the beginning. I'm not going to stop trying, going for those big ones, going for fish in general, but man, there's nothing like the pull of that big bass and the excitement of getting it in your hands, and then the, you know, happiness of watching her swim away at the end. So yeah, guys, that's the story of this fish and my catch, an impromptu video. Gonna edit it together, put it out. I got a couple other things coming. I got an unboxing of some giant, or a bunch of swim baits. One care package from my buddy Justin in California, and then one of my Black Friday orders. That's actually gonna be out pretty soon too. And look for the November Bite of the Day wrap-up, which I'll be talking about right after I film this, and that'll come out probably in a week or so too. Stay tuned to Ted Lincoln's Fishy Life for more Bite of the Day, and hopefully more big bass. This is Ted from Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life. I'm out. That's big, whatever it is. That's a bass. I think that is a bass. Oh my God. That is a bass. Oh my God. Holy crap. Oh my God. Oh. Come here. Come here, dude. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is the biggest bass I've ever caught. This is the biggest bass I've ever caught. Holy shit. That's big, whatever it is. Oh my God. That was a bass. Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is the biggest bass I've ever caught. This is the biggest bass I've ever caught. 12 pounds. Ah.